Okay. Oh, that shouldn't be happening. Ooh. Why? Why is it reading that? That should not be reading it like that. There should be a gate on that. Oh boy, let's fix that. Filters. Let's fix that. Shall we? Very good. All right. Greetings. Good morning, good evening, good day, and good night. Whichever it is, wherever you are in the world. Oh boy, it has been a hot minute. It's been a short while since I've done any kind of world building. I think it's time that we fix that. So, we got a few things that we can do today. And we're going to crack open the good old tried and true notepad. So there's a few things that need to be addressed here. And the main thing this is me kind of like going over a few things that need to be addressed. First of which, and none other than I would say the most important one to address, which is the issue that I'm running into with the gods. I'm finding redundancies, I'm finding too much overlap, and I'm finding gaps in the gods themselves. Furthermore, I'm finding another problem, which is I don't really know how to frame this, but they are too perfect, I guess is the best way to put it. They're too perfect to their role. Actually, should be like this. Is it roll though? Yeah, to their role. So the main problem here that I'm running into when it comes to the role of deities is that, so to kind of like expand upon that, is all too good / evil, or just too narrow in scope. So there are a few exceptions to this. Not all gods are like this, obviously. I would say like the more popular ones seem to have less of an issue, like exceptions to this. So gods that are good, let me phrase that don't need touching, that don't need fixing. MAO is honestly, I think, specifically the following, which is Malefica or Maleficia, Arash, Varus could use a minor touch-up, I think, but specifically Maleficia, Arash, most of these need a bit of a tidy up. Orn, or Eeyore, I should say. Eeyore is pretty good, but these are but I'm seeing some problems with with some holes. So let's look at some gaps here. So gaps, there's an obvious. So the easiest way to kind of look at this is, I think, in the simplest sense. We're just gonna do this here. I think the simplest sense to do this, I'm gonna actually just do this here. Is, what do the gods represent? Well, they represent cultures, right? Now, either gods beget cultures, or culture. Wow, come on, learn to type. Begets gods. Right? There's only like one of two scenarios here, which is either gods beget cultures or cultures beget gods. So, and this actually, and in my case, or both. And that's where I think I'm running into some problems here, is that I am actually trying to do both. And this can be true in a number of ways. However, there has to be separation between them and why things are that, and why they are that way. So for example, gods beget cultures are gods that have so what's the difference here? So what are some things that we have to address if gods beget cultures? Hey Nano, how's it going, bud? Alrighty. So the first obvious problem here that we have to address is gods beget culture. Nice. Well, I'm glad you slept well. So gods beget culture. Well, this means that the gods came first. And you know what? We're gonna actually just put this into this is other stuff. Alright, we're gonna create a new. We're gonna do this, and we're just gonna get rid of the notepad because I'm finding that I'm running into problems here. So we're just gonna fix this. We're gonna get rid of the we actually might need this later, but we'll worry about that. So this, we're just gonna pull, we're gonna actually just shove it all over here. All right. So, all right. Culture. So, what are some of the things that happens with gods to get culture? Well, the gods came first. So that's the first important thing. So it means that there isn't anything. So it means that you have to have a personality for the god, and the god has to have come from somewhere. So in order for this to be true, so they have to be. So gods came first, or more accurately, not came first. This is gonna be a godlike stream, eh? We'll see. We'll see. We'll determine by the end. Or first, or at least before the culture that adopted them. And I think this is the important thing that I'm kind of missing here, is that I don't have cultures taking these deities on per se. I do in a few cases. The exceptions that are most obvious here is like Malefica, Arash, and Yor, where Yor being kind of more of like a natural primal force, or cosmic force, I should say. So he kind of like falls into this spot where he fits well into like the natural order of things. Malefica is, I mean, she created an entire family. So there's plenty there. And Arash has his own culture, which is inherently designed in D&D, which is your adventurers. So there's a culture amongst adventurers to some degree, where there's high variety, sure, but the big thing that makes adventurers is that they're risk takers. And that comes with its own, and that has its own middle ground of good and of great and goodness and evil and disaster. So the idea of the gods came first is that, well, the culture, so culture is made around them. So what does this mean? It means it takes their values, their strengths, habits, eccentricities, and I have no idea how to spell eccentricities. Virtues and vices. Yeah, you know what? That's a really good way of condensing it. Thank you. I couldn't think of the. Yeah, no, that's a really good way. Thank you, Fubbo. I cannot. Wow, my brain is just dying. Oh, greetings, Fobomancer, by the way. Welcome. Greetings. Thank you for swinging by. I really appreciate it. But yeah, essentially they take on everything that it makes them, for the most part. At least when gods... This is true, like any cult, when a culture is in either direction, this is true. But if the gods came first, it's like, well, the god determines all this. And I think I actually have one like that, which is Kambar, where he kind of came to be. Actually, this is probably the best example I have, which is because Kambar came to be, and because he came to be, he created an entire race out of himself. Now, I have to update a lot of things, so I need to alter a lot of this. Now, obviously, the big thing here is that I think I took away islands in his actual thing there, because these are all older now. I have the quick checklist. But the big thing is that he's strategy, greed, and wealth. It's like, well, strategy is neither good nor evil. Wealth is not evil, but greed is. Greed is, considered an evil to a degree. Wanting wealth or coveting other stuff is inherently added as an evil to most cultures. So that's where all that comes in. So what does this mean? It means that if the deity structures the entire culture, you need to have a strong character. If true, needs to have. Oops. Hey, Luna. Okay. Don't need to be barking at the squirrel. Did she eat?
Yeah.
No. Alright, there we go. I actually need to fix something here. Let's save. There we go. So now I can see things a little bit better. As to what you guys see. Alright. Alright, needs to be strong. But here's the main thing I've been kind of running into, which is the virtue and vice. It's like, yeah, there needs to be good aspects and bad aspects. So, here's the thing, is that the problem I'm running into is that a lot of my deities, I'm looking at them like they're not really designed well, I should say, as characters with virtues and vices, with good things and bad things about them. Like the more middle ground ones do, because that's a little bit easier, I would say, with the intent when you're building them with intent of them being a neutral oriented deity, right? One who's a little bit more morally and ambiguous, or intends to, oh, cool, I didn't know I could do that. I can move back and forth on my extra mouse buttons. Cool. Tend to be a little bit more, in the middle ground of that of a normal person. So one of the things I'm running into is like, well, one of the things I have for Virgil is like, well, he's just kind of like this avatar of good and hope and glory and redemption and all these wonderful things. But there isn't really a downside to him, at least not immediately in paper. Like, it could be, you can make the argument that it's abrasive glory, where it's just like, it's not spirit of the law, it's letter of the law, for example. Right, avatar of true law and good. But even that isn't really particularly obvious, I would say. So I think we need to start, I would think, by going through everybody and determining a few things. And that is, so we're going to actually go through here and do this. But we're going to finish this part first, which is all gods have virtues and vices, but if we have culture begets the gods, what does that do? It's like, well, it means that the culture came first. Like, they were a creature in an established culture, and then they got pushed into godhood. So that means that the culture, come on, oh my goodness, culture shaped their values. This L button, this L key is starting to piss me off. This doesn't really seem to be working too well. Culture shaped their values. Now this also means that lower life, their mortal life, also shaped values. And all the typical stuff that come with characters. This also means that you need to have starting character with a character that is mortal, that is typical, I should say, typical. And then force them to be something bigger. So that's kind of the big difference here. Now the last one, and I'm not entirely certain as to how exactly this actually works, but there's probably a way that you can actually have both, which is where you kind of have culture created the deity, which then influences, right, which then influences the culture, which then influences the deity, which then influences the culture. You end up with a positive feedback loop. but has to be one of them has to be first. So this is more of like a scenario that occurs over time, which is, do you have a deity that is, so deity, or god rather, that is changing. That is changing. So is the god amorphous? Are they moldable? This is probably in the case of like culture begets god, and then it keeps changing. As the culture changes, so does the deity. Until they get too changed, and then they lose themselves. Now, I don't think that's going to be a thing where I'm going to have them, because I don't think it's going to be possible for deities to adopt added domains. I have to go through and adjust my pantheon. I think I have to just give it a straight up overhaul. And then go from there. One of the things that I have to do, however, and this is something that's actually gonna have to be kept as a separate as a secondary section here. Gods, I have to keep. And this is Arash. Even if I have to edit them. This is Arash, Malefica. Sorry, Maleficia. Malefica, Maleficia. I need to pick a pronunciation, because they both can be true. I have to pick one of these days. I keep on saying Malefica first, so I guess that's the one I'll have to go with. Ozulux. And I actually really like Ozulux as a creature. I just have to rewrite him. I just have him written down wrong. I have him built up in my mind as a certain thing, but he's not written down as that, I don't think. I need to adjust my approach. Let's see here. Is there anyone else that I absolutely have to keep? Kambar, even if I have to alter him a little bit. Otherwise, I think he's actually in a fine spot. Basically, I'm looking at the list and seeing which ones I have lore attached to and which ones I have to keep as a result of that. I have to keep Varus, because there are player characters that are attached to him, both present and past. There's no one particularly tied to Orin, which is fine. I do have some lore attached to him in Anla, but that can be changed. Urani, I think actually needs to be kind of kept the way that she is for a very specific reason. I gotta check some of my DMs here. I think maybe it is in my, maybe it's somewhere else. I have to check. I'm trying to find a thing in here that possesses. No, this is all old stuff. Okay. I guess I didn't actually have it written down. That's fine. Torrent, I think, is fine, because Torrent I treat a little bit differently. He's more designed as a cosmic force rather than a deity. He's a cosmic force. How did I describe Torrent? Torrent is, the elemental titans are more like a being that has risen to power due to group thought, right? Like the embodiment and ambitions of the water domain have created Torrent in the way that he has become. So I can keep Torrent. I need to keep Zephyr. Zephyr, I think, is actually a really, really interesting deity, in that Zephyr's kind of like, whatever suits you. Do whatever you like. It's okay. I don't mind. Kind of like that middle ground, don't really care kind of aloof kind of deity. It's like, I'm just gonna be here, and it kind of fits this middle ground really, really well. And then the last one, just vibe, man. He's the stoner deity. And Eeyore, I actually think Eeyore is actually in a really, really good spot, because Eeyore is treated as a cosmic force, right? Eeyore is designed as a as like general death, the cycle of life, right? The existence of the existential dread of existence is a good way of putting it. Right? That would be a common thing. It would be like, he would be feared by the existentialists because he is death, but he's not death in a terrible way. He's death in all ways. The good, the bad, the great, the evil, the terrible, the peaceful. He's all these things. And I think that's what kind of makes him really, really cool. So I kind of want to leave him as is. Sylvis is kind of like, I think Sylvis popped in as an idea that I had and then kind of left to be. She hasn't been utilized, so I get to kind of change her and keep things going. So that's pretty much where I'm at and what kind of needs to be kept. Everything else can be not scrapped, but readdressed in ways that make a lot of sense. So let's start with the big important thing, which is, what do we need? And actually, a better question would be, what do we need? Well, I think a better question to ask is, what purpose do the gods serve? The service to something. So, uh-oh, what happened? We had a little hiccup there. Alright. So, big question is, what purpose do the gods serve? Well, in a game sense, so let's start with the game sense. So in the game sense, come on. They provide power to players. They are a means of purpose, of character purpose. Actually, a character meaning would be a better way of putting it. Character meaning. No purpose. That's... Okay, how do you spell purpose? D-U-R. Okay, sure. Whatever. Okay. Character meaning and purpose, but what else do they provide to the players? Well, they also provide a means of random explanation. Actually, no, that's more like a world building thing. But that's the two main things that they provide, that they give players on a game level is they provide power to players and a mean of character and a means of character purpose, right? They give you an avenue to create purpose for characters, right? My purpose is this deity or the things that they adhere to. From a world building perspective, we have same as above. We have same as the game, but they also provide what's the word? Culture, thinking modes, modes, not mods. Conflicts. And probably a series of other things, but they also, now the next thing comes back to, do they do something else, which is how, and this is a big important question, is how interactable are they? How interactable are they? Like, this is just a thought that kind of popped in my head here. So, my restream is going nutty. Jeez. I think we're good. I think we're online all right. Okay, we appear to be working okay. Nope, restream chat has bot has died. We're gonna refresh the cache. Hopefully that'll work. Having trouble connecting. Why? Uh-oh. Is the chat just gonna be dead for this stream? Yeah, the chat, well, I can see the chat just fine. It's just not popping up on stream now. Well, this is a fine pickle. Well, fear not, friends. I can still see what you say. You just can't see it. Alright, well. This gives us more real estate for the day, I guess. Until I figure out how to fix this. And boom. There we go. We get more real estate to work with today. Yay. Alright. So. Next question. So, they service these things. So how do we want, so what do we, so let's ask ourselves what kind of stuff that we need, or what gods do we need? Like, we need a god of water, we need a god of the sun, we need a god of... No, we don't need these things. Anything that has significant power can hold a domain. This is why, for example, you'll see that my patrons, or my, such as the courts of the Fae, also have domains. So I'm not concerned about things having domains. It's that I need to have something for everything, to some degree. So what do we need? Well, we can always build them to facilitate classes. So that's the first big thing, is to facilitate classes, and that can be both player classes and culture classes. We can have them built off of cosmic forces. So such as death, dreams, elements, so on. The list goes on. As well as off of concepts. Such as truth, concepts or philosophies, such as truth, madness, work, and things of that nature. So let's just start simple. The biggest thing that matters here is player base first. So players matter first. So let's just start with gods of classes. So gods. Gods for the classes. So I already have one for adventuring. So if we start, so let's just start with all the classes. So we have Artificer, Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Wizard, Sorcerer, Warlock, Monk. I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep. So we have 13 classes. So now it doesn't mean that we have 13 gods immediately, but it means that we need to have someone that facilitates all this. So we have the overarching thing which already. So we have one of adventure. So godless. So we have adventure. We have let's just grab this list here. So we have adventure. We have mother, or not mother, fertility. But this isn't family necessarily. I believe Malefica was actually of love and sacrifice. So fertility, love, and sacrifice. So I think we need to actually push into that further. But this is all the positive aspects. So we also need to add some negative, which is abrasiveness. Just abrasive. But that's more of an adjective rather than a thing about her. But regardless. Arash, if I remember correctly, is luck, struggle, travel, and adventure. So I need to condense this a little bit. So I would actually change this from struggle and travel to adventure, risk, and travel. Take away the luck aspect. Now, of course, travel is going to be an inherent one due to adventure, because that's part of it. But risk also comes with its own degrees of good and bad. We can get rid of the sacrifice aspect, I think. Or maybe just get rid of the love aspect. I think that might be the problem here. Sacrifice, abrasive. So, that's more of an adjective. I don't know. We'll come back to that. Next, we already have truth, madness, and dream, and night. Do I want to keep him as a dream deity? He's not really. He may invade dreams, but any deity can kind of do that. Because nightmares can bring about wisdom. But then again, that's truth. Or a way to approach truth. I might be going down a weird road if I keep with the nightmares aspect. I'm not certain. It's hard to say. Because, interesting. I might have to change this. That's where I am anyways. Kambar is greed, strategy, and wealth. But I'm starting to think that maybe I want to go with a different direction. Yeah, it's also like patron god of dragons. And we can also have like just patron gods in general. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to have in here, which is races. So I want to reapproach that as well. How I'm approaching the races in my for my pantheons, I should say. I think greed, strategy, and wealth fit fine, because you have wealth, but you also have... I think wealth actually needs to be changed. I think greed, strategy... I may actually have to go magic here, because the way that I have dragons is very heavy on magic. Because I don't think wealth actually fits here. Because strategy is neither good nor evil. Greed is obviously designed, at least in my world, it is meant as an evil. Because greed is... it's avarice, right? It's taking what is not yours. Is kind of like desiring what is not yours. So, we have that from Kambar. Alright, so Varus... This is where we're going to get into my first kind of roadblock, which is I'm not quite certain where to go. Because right now, he's of all just good virtues. Right? He's chaotic in nature, but he's also protective. So I think we need to change things a little bit here. So Varus is of protection. But I think we can actually push him into a bit of a different direction. Protection, redemption, and maybe something else. Because right now I have cycles and rivers and peace, and that doesn't really fit him. I fit really an idea. So protection, redemption. But we need to have something that kind of like brings things down a little bit. Now he is a deity of water, so perhaps a deity in the sense of like he wants peace. But do I have someone of peace? I don't think I do. what I have him in here as the peace, protection, and rivers. So I can go peace. But then we end up with the roadblock, which is now he's just kind of like this avatar of good things. Which, from the perspective of people, that's fine. From the perspective of people that want to be around him, want him, that's good. But we need something that makes him on the negative side. So, we can come back to that. Torrent, I believe Torrent is like just all about, like, it's been a while since I looked at Torrent. Torrent, I believe, is just power and floods and corruption. Yeah, power, corruption, and floods. And he's chaotic evil, just kind of like this being that just wants to destroy. Power and corruption kind of definitely fit. I want there to be something. He's more meant as a cosmic force, however. Flooding would be like a way that he comes about with the power and the corruption. I think I need to focus more on concepts. Concepts, philosophies, and things of that nature, as opposed to literal things like water, because he's the god of water. It's like, well, yeah, he's an elemental. Of course, he's the god of water. So I think power, corruption, but there needs to be. I need another adjective that kind of fits and can be something not necessarily redeemable, but it's like, well, yeah, okay, at the very least. Zephyr. Zephyr is really cool, in my opinion. I really like Zephyr. Zephyr is one of those ones I made rather quickly, too, I think. So I don't think I gave her proper due course. Winds, tranquility, and storms. So, like, see, storms kind of works, and tranquility works, but I don't think that actually describes... I don't think I'm doing Zephyr justice, because I have it as the calm tempest. Storms, tranquility, and change. Tranquility, change, and storms, I think, can actually work. One of them can be kind of like this inambiguous, this more... The idea of that being storms, however... Tranquility, change, and something else, probably. So change... Tranquility. Probably something else, though. I don't really like the storms idea. Well, actually, the storms actually works. Because it's, even though it's tranquil, this one is tranquil, it can also be of storms. But I feel like that's something that needs to be more designed as like an obvious, as a rather than it being a concept. A concept rather than it being weather. Next we have Eeyore. So this is of death in the purest sense. Death, renewal. And what was the last thing in here? Death, renewal, and creation. So I don't know about creation. I think creation actually needs to be scrapped from him. I think death, renewal, but not necessarily life. Creation may actually fit just fine. So that's what I have so far that are kind of like, yeah, I'm keeping these. There are other things in here that kind of continue on, but that's what I have so far. It's like, well, what are... So let's start trying to add some of these class-based ones to these. None of these really fit for the Artificer. Like so let's actually dig into this a little bit. So the Artificer as a class is a creationist. It's a creator, not creationist. That's incorrect. is a creator, right? They build things. So they need someone that, so things that they would really value is probably things that they're also, here's the other thing, is there are also two kinds of artificers. There's shortcuts and hard workers. And the reason I say this is that there's two ways to achieve things as an artificer, and that is you either create things to get around problems, or you work hard to create cool stuff, right? And so here's the thing that made this really, really cool, is that there's the two concepts from the two ways that you could play an artificer in 3.5, which was you could either play them as a person that made really cool stuff all the time, right? Made magical gear, such as useful items, homunculi, wands that you could utilize for power, things like that. That was the hard working concept. But there was also the concept where you were creating shortcuts. You were cheating your way past stuff because you had access to the entirety of the spell list in the game, regardless of class. So you could make the argument that they were cheaters and they did shortcuts in order to get to solve whatever problem they had. They basically could replace the wizard in a lot of sense and be a scroll caster. Still required work, mind you, but it meant that they got around stuff rather than stuck to stuff. I will be right back. So, in such a case, we need to be able to point these kinds of people, in a direction to one of two different deities. So we have some options here. So we could argue that they could go for greed and strategy. We could argue that they might obviously go for adventure. We need to drink walkers. Thank you, Splunker. You know what? I don't have water with me. I do have coffee, so I will chug back the coffee, and then I'll come back with water. All right? I just realized that you were able to hear the AC unit in the back there. Or the army of fans or whatever it is. You know what? I'm going to fix that. I'm just going to do something here to... my filters. Where's my... I should be able to... That should help. I'm gonna actually... Where's, advanced properties. I'm gonna just listen to advanced audio properties. So we're gonna set... where's my mic? To monitor only. Okay. So. Okay. Here we go. So... You can kind of... Okay, so now that I can hear myself... Let's see here. I'm going to go to property... filters. I'm going to see if I can fix this. If I turn this off, how much does that... Okay, so you can kind of hear it in the background, but that's a lot... Oh, that's a lot better, actually. Wow. Okay. I just realized how quiet I have my own personal volume. That's actually pretty nuts. Yeah, that's actually a lot better. Wow. Okay. And then we're going to turn off the monitor only. There we go. There we go. That's much better. I actually just want to turn down my own music volume just a little bit. And there we go. That should sound a little bit better. Okay. So, next on the list, so that's the two obvious ways to send an artificer as a class, basic ideas. You can always get more complex characters, and there's an endless slew of them, and I'll be here until the end of the year, going through ideas for that. But that's the simplest ones. For barbarians, what are barbarians? They are, I don't like using the term savages, but they are tribal. So they're gonna like simple, I would say simple things. So this is actually a better way of putting it. It's like this: tribal, simple things. So I don't like the argument, however, of saying that they're savage, right? They're not inherently savage by being a barbarian. Barbarian's a tribal IG. I don't know what IG means, so I'm gonna like it's basic concepts, right? Like, what is a barbarian in its concept? It's like it's simpler than it's also a rage machine, mechanically speaking, I guess. I mean, you could argue that it's also just a you could make the argument actually that it goes into a different direction, which is like the Brazilian jiu-jitsu style, because yeah, like you are like a combatant, but you're a very much like a very much like a very brutal combatant. Oh, that's actually a bad way of putting jiu-jitsu. The jiu-jitsu isn't really that brutal, but I guess it is in the sense of like when compared to on the outside looking in, because I actually know very little. Green. I'm gonna butcher this name. It's Stuki the dragon. I don't know. I'm bad at names. But stuff that a barbarian might like is obviously battle. You could argue that they value honor. And that is not how you spell honor. Because the honor of battle, the glory of battle is another thing. Oh, glory would be more of like a paladin thing. Awesome. So battle, honor. But things that are also really interesting would be, what would barbarians, at least on a functional level, kind of try to do? Well, the ancestors are important to them, right? Family is important to them, right? That's one of the things that they use as a class archetype is literally your ancestors, right? That's a very interesting thing. Creatures, so such as beasts, would be a common thing. Maybe not beasts. Wilds, spirits. Like, I think of barbarians as a very that's spelling. Okay. I cannot type. Wow. Can this give me like at least my brain is dead. My brain is dead. Ghosts. We'll just go ghosts. Oh, my brain. So what am I building? I am addressing a bunch of problems that I'm realizing that I have with my Pantheon. It's fierce. Thank you. I appreciate it. My brain is just, I don't know why I can't spell that name. It's just like it's gone from my... I mean, spelling is normally bad for me. Oh my word. But it's not... normally I get close. Jeez. I am working on stuff for Pantheons. Now, I actually have like a giant Pantheon for my D&D world already, but I'm running into some problems with its design. And basically, I'm going through and going, okay, I've missed a bunch of like probably really important stuff, and it needs to be addressed. So I'm addressing it. So I've said, okay, well, what are some stuff that I need to keep? Partially because it's already being used by players, but also because it actually kind of already works well. And then from there, I'm going to readdress things and probably alter stuff, because I'm finding that a lot of my deities are really one-dimensional or maybe two-dimensional at best in a lot of ways, rather than multi-dimensional and something that feels like an actual entity, rather than just a baseline, hey, here's a thing that covers this. Greetings, Guy Glitchy. Welcome. Thanks for swinging by. How are you? I hope you're faring well. Thank you, sir. I'm doing okay. I am tripping over everything that I have ever said and tried to spell and done and all that other fun stuff. Okay, so let's dig a little bit further here, actually. Where's my... Okay, here we go. I want this over here. Oh, it's over here. Thank you. There we go. So, there's probably something that I'm forgetting here. I feel like there's something that's obvious that I'm forgetting. Made Spooky as a 20th level character in Pathfinder 2e. Oh gosh. I recently 20th level in 2e. Honestly, 2e, Pathfinder 2e, I actually have a design problem with 2e, and that is everything looks so good. It looks so great. The problem with 2e, I think, ultimately comes back to one thing, and that is that you don't actually have a whole lot of options when it comes to character creation. Get out of here. Get out of here. What's up, Ember? What's that? You like? What? Okay, 1 second. My daughter's pulling my hand. Oh. Okay, I am back. Let's see here. Oh my word. So what am I missing in chat here? Pathfinder 2e. Yeah, I have a lot. I actually have issues with Pathfinder 2e, but yeah. Just got home from Elder Ring. I don't Elder Ring. You're forgetting the Elder Ring. I don't know what that is. Like what you're referencing per se. There's Blunker. Just got home from moving most of my stuff from my old place to my parents' place. My body hurts. Dude, I've moved. Oh, dude. Oh, if you're not used to lifting stuff all day, oh, it really does a lot of stuff. She's technically an eldritch goddess, but I decided to make her a playable character because she'd have her. Oh, okay. She's basically taking a mortal aspect. Well, yeah, Pathfinder is fairly new still. They're still working on it from what it seems. Okay, fair enough. Powder falls under the category of important matters, I'm told. Yes, she does. So it's kind of expected that there's not many options currently, but sure they'll eventually add more as more source books come out. But yeah, I do agree to that point. Welcome back. I think it... The video game? Perhaps. I sure as hell can't play that, though. One, I'm actually not particularly good at Souls games. But apparently this is like one of the best Souls games for like all levels of play. So that might be something different. Second, I'm running a toaster of a computer that probably can't run much more than what you see on the screen right now. Because, yeah. Alrighty. So I'm actually just trying to look at a few things here when it comes to barbarian archetypes at the moment, and the things that kind of make barbarians barbarians. Do you have a RAM limiter active on GX right now? Is your PC that much of a toaster? It's like a $300 Dell from like 5 years ago. It's actually just that. It's actually just that bad. Like, the computer that I was running off of before this one, had a, like, it struggled to run Dark Souls after I used DS Fix and lowered the resolution in the field of view and everything. Like, yeah. There's like, listen, I have not gotten a new computer. This is like just that cheap computer that you got. For me, so I can post a link. I actually just have it, like, I don't have that, I have it set up to just kill all links. You want to just send it to me in Whisper, and I'll take a look at it before I post it. Yeah, like the last computer I was working with before this one was a, oh gosh, that was like a 10-year-old PC. If you right-click, if you go to the top or right-click my name, you can just, okay. Well, I use a restream chat, so I'm not actually in Twitch chat. So I don't know how well that's going to actually work. All right, stand by. Let's see, how do we do this here? Yeah. Piss off. I don't care. Go away. Stupid thing. Piss off. Pop-ups, go away. No, I do not want your nonsense. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't have that set up. Apparently my bot is like half busted. Here. Let me help you out. Yeah, it doesn't show up on my end either. It just dies like immediately. Oh, that's Twitch side. Okay, so now I remember. Oh boy. I have no idea how to do this. You can always send me a DM on Discord. That's also an option. I just whispered you, Spelunker, so you should have like a thing that pops up. You should be able to send that link to, because I can't see it any other way. I haven't done anything with like the, I don't know. I have to go through and like fix the, like go through and figure out how to do this again. It's been forever since I've had to worry about this. Because normally I haven't done like world building streams in for like forever. Oh. I don't know. Stuff like this confuses me. I'm not good with this kind of stuff. I just killed the links because I'm like, I just don't need people posting links most of the time. But what did you say it was? Elder Ring? Or was it Elder Ring? Not Elden? What did you say? Yeah, Elder Ring. Not Elden, Elder. It just still gives me everything for Elden Ring. I don't care about this. Whatever. Alright, I'm just gonna move on for now, because I have no idea. But, like, it's hurting my brain. So it is. Welcome to the stream. Hi, I don't know how to spell. I legit just can't spell. It drives me crazy. If I didn't have spell check, I would actually be considered stupid. Oh my goodness. Ugh. Okay. So bards are also creators, but the big thing that they have are muses. No, I haven't been in a spelling bee. I actively refuse to be around a spelling bee because Lord, would the embarrassment would kill me. I'm pretty sure. Either that or I'd be there just to make a joke out of the fact that I actually can't spell at all. So there's that too. Okay, so the next question comes back to after that is, what is a muse? So a muse is like obviously like a creation thing. Oh, excuse me. But it's a source of inspiration, right? So what is the inspiration? But that's also like so creativity, ideas. But the thing that also makes it really, really interesting on the other side is if we go into the class kind of sense. Yeah, I know. It's giving me the red lines of screw you. I hate this word. It's not real. I will get to them. Don't worry. But there's ideas. There's speech. There's let's see here. There's lore. So there's you could argue history. Secrets. I know that there's no A in secrets. terms that are properly spelled. It's so painful. Do you know what the problem is at that point? Is that your language that it's reading is incorrect. It means that you have to check the readings for like, for example, I have mine set to US, but because I'm Canadian, I'll spell like, so for example, the correct spelling for color in the US is this, but in Canada we spell it like this. If my memory serves correctly, there's a U in there for English, of like a god in the pantheon or some fiction. Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, like the whole squiggle of stuff I have on the side there for deity names. Because, you know. I mean, I get that it's doing its job, but still. Okay. But yeah, so let's see here. What else do bards have? Creativity, ideas, speech, history, secrets. I mean, there's obviously performance. And we could also just, and I don't know why I haven't put in there, but music. That's an obvious one. Thank you. It's you are at the end. Jesus. So, see, part of my problem is I don't see words as individual letters making up a word. I see it as a bundle of letters making the word. So, like, it doesn't, so, like, I can literally spell, like if I take inspiration, I can spell it like IPSIRNATOIN. Like, I literally can read that as inspiration, no problem. Because I see letters create, like, I don't see letters creating a word. I see letters as a word. So it doesn't help with spellings. I'm like, hey, I see the letters in there. I know it's right. I know the word is there. I can see it. Okay. So these are like concepts that we can utilize to create deities off of. Because I think taking stuff that's like this. So these are, the biggest thing is artificers and bards are actually kind of like this close to the same thing. Is one is just art. Well, both are artists, but one is a professional expert in terms of the physical objects. One is a expert in the form of thought. I think is a good way to separate the two. Artificers are things, bards are thinking. I think is the most watered down, simplistic way to separate the two, because they're both creative, they're both magical, they both do a lot of the same things. It's just one works with stuff, the other works with people. At least on a very bare bones kind of level. Okay, clerics. Well, divinity. Is there an E towards the beginning of divinity? Oh, there's just no E. It's just it's an I. Okay, so bring on the dogma. So the thing about clerics in 5th edition, or just in D&D in general, but clerics in general are diverse in two aspects, depending upon and this really depends upon how you set up your deities in general. Is there either how do I frame this? Or more accurately, how do I articulate this? So, in a sense, they represent as at least as archetypes, their domains are forces upon the world, right? Arcana, death, tempests, twilight, knowledge, life. I call nature domain forest domain because that's what it really is. Order, right? They're concepts, right? They embody the other concepts of things around them, and clerics end up becoming as diverse as pretty much every other class in that sense because of that. So I don't think I need so there isn't really like gods for clerics. It's more like clerics are for gods. So it isn't really. Yes, exactly. But the thing is, like, clerics, unlike a bard, where you can take things that a bard has and then build deities off of it, clerics take things that deities are built off of and become part and then take on those aspects. So there isn't really like a clerical deity in the sense of like clerics go to this god. It's like, no, bards can kind of go to this god because that's the kind of thing that fits them. Clerics are diverse in the other basically are the reverse direction of this idea of thinking. So they, take on aspects of the god. Or god aspects. It's a completely different, like, kind of way of thinking compared to other classes. Druids are kind of similar in a lot of other sense, where they are, well, they're nature. So, natural order. I've heard about it. Damn it, Druid. Every time. Greetings. How's it going? It's been a while. Couple weeks? Month? Too long? Always? Natural forces would be a better way of putting it. Natural forces on the world. So this can be, as the semester be over with, please, I'm tired. You're almost there, Druid. You're almost there. So, I mean, this can be, forests. This can be water. This can be storm. This can be weather. LP, weather. This can be weather. This can be beasts. This can be cycles. That is not even remotely close how you spell cycles. One of my favorite parts of spellcasters is flavor the appearance of spells to fit my character. Exactly. That's one of the things I like to do. Yeah. So, like, for example, I played a sorcerer one time who was just who was a mad alchemist, and his entire thing was like just throwing potion bottles at people, and that's how like he caused stuff to happen. Or he would just drink a potion and it would cause the effect. Like his burning hands was him chugging a potion and breathing fire on people. Are all rainbow or have starry aspects to them. Even manipulating your body itself becomes a eldritch horror. Yeah, exactly. What are other things that are important to druids? The cosmos. That is not how you spell cosmos. There we go. Right? Like, the cosmos also matters for this as well. So, like, there's one other thing that is brought up with druids specifically in D&D, and that is dreams. Because dreams are considered, or the dream realm is inherently considered part of natural recourse, right? Like, the clerics are kind of like, how do I frame this? Clerics are kind of more like the social structures of people that follow deities, whereas more like civilization deities, whereas druids are kind of like clerics for nature. Hey, you gotta have a slight change for things that don't fit, right? But everything else kind of fits. So we don't need all this per se. Our good things her flavor. There's always a neat stuff to flavor for people. I had a character one time who did not dash. Like, he never ran for anything ever. He never had to. And then there was one time that there was a giant, like, horde of undead behind him. And he was running, and everybody got really scared all of a sudden because he was running. Yeah. I always run towards stuff. I can't walk. I hate it. It takes too long. I hate walking. I have to be, like, I walk fast. Like, fast. Because I'm also tall. Like, I'm 6'1", so, like, I also walk fast for, like, I walk fast in general, and because I have a longer stride than most people, I outpace people inherently. So I, like, really, like, I really outrun people. Gross tall people. Well, excuse me. Is that, now, I have an important question. Is that because it's faster because you have long strides? Or is it because you have to move, you have to walk faster in order to keep up with other people? Very important distinction. So I actually have to walk slow so that I don't outpace people. Like my wife, who is, you know, 3/4 of a foot shorter than me. Okay, so fighters are all about training, are all about martial. They're martial experts. So this is training. They're martial experts. So we can do, actually, this is actually a good one to put in there. So we have training, we have strategy. Oh my word. Jeez, my typing. Strategy, training, should I take bigger strides than most people? Strategy. I'm average height, but I do take bigger strides than most people. I'm actually have to slow down to keep up with other people. Yeah, I hear that. Training, strategy, combat. What else? Uses magic as utility. Well, I'm looking for things that make fighters fighters. Like, not necessarily, that, like, specifically fighters. Like, not things that make the others, like, it's like more so than others. You know, like, there's the battle master, for example. Like, he's a trained combatant. There's maneuvers. There are some. Like, as a baseline concept, like, most simplest concepts of fighters, right? So there's, like, there are, you could also put in things like, you can also put honor in here, right? Like, even though that's a paladin thing also, or a barbarian thing also, you could also put honor in here as well. Because you could think of a fighter as, like, a knight on top of that. Right? You could think glory. Even though that's also, like, you can also, like, right? So there's other things like that. Fast learners? Not necessarily. You could also put in other things. I could put this in for the barbarian also, which was strength. Because they are kind of like the avatars of strength in the classes. What's the word I'm looking for here? Not exceptional. Competence. Yeah, I was trying to think of, like, I think competence fits well for that, because it can also be, like, their ability to learn a lot of great stuff. It's more about competence rather than learning. Like, that's more of a prowess thing. Best at what they do. Yeah, exactly. Now, paladins, I prefer to take on the Pathfinder approach to paladins and refers them more as champions, but specifically in D&D senses, they're a lot more, they are holy warriors. Right? They are champions of gods. So what are the things that are important? Oh, the most important thing. They still have it to be mechanically the same, though. Yeah, it's just they clarify them. I think the terminology clarifies them a lot better as a class, like as for lore purposes. I think they fit a lot better. Duty, yes, duty. Thank you. That is a beautiful one. Not the garbage kind though. The best kind. Dragon Ancestry thing I used. Feature describes scaled wings, although I actually have fluffy fur, no wings. Nice. Let's see here. So, let's see here. Let's just look at Paladin subclasses. See what they have here. So they have Conquest, Crown, Devotion, Glory. Like Glory fits here. Glory. Devotion. Vengeance. Like, the Paladin actually works just really, really well for, like, describing virtues that you want to, like, strive for. Virtues or vices. Let's see here. Conquest. Right? All these things work so great. Ah, you ruined the mood. You ruined the mood, bud. Fucking bot. Where are you? Let's get rid of you. You. Get out of here. We don't like your kind. We don't like your kind here. We like most people, but not you. Right? So, like, paladins, for the most part, are essentially fighters. They just have a clerical side to them. But the thing that makes them unique compared to fighters is oaths, specifically. Time out for 1 second. Most of them are actually compromised accounts nowadays, ever since they added phone verification. Oh, seriously? That's a shame. She's in her room playing. It is 11 o'clock. Yep. I'm not gonna go, like, past lunch or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, if somebody wants to talk to me, they can always just, like, yap at me, and then there you go, right? I have no problem unbanning people if they contact me about it. Odds of that's being a person that will come back to me, though, is pretty slim. Okay. Moving on to the back to the thing. But yeah, like, the big thing here is oaths, duty, like these things right here. Like, these are the things that make paladins paladins, right? Obviously, there's some other things in there that make paladins paladins, but I think these are the big things that you can try and derive ideas and concepts from to make a deity off of. Protect. Only once per channel. Oh. They just go through the channel and then never come back. Okay, well then just delete message next time. That easy solution, just delete message. Okay. Rangers. So the thing about Rangers is they're kind of like nature fighters. Right? Like, Rangers are Rangers are basically the child. It's like if the druid and the fighter had a weird child, you end up with a hunt. You end up with a ranger. So you have hunting. Calling them hunters would be better. Yeah, I agree. Because I think the name... Well, no, this isn't a change of name. This is kind of like... This is just like a thing for me. Like, it's the concept of like kind of what they are. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Oh, okay. Yeah. But they can be hunting, they can be beasts, they can be... Where is Ranger? Ranger, here we go. What are some of the other conclaves that they have? They are... like, the big things that make the Rangers interesting. Because it's actually a class in this. There you go, yeah. But the big thing that makes... Like, they kind of put all the weird nature stuff that they want to give fighters to Rangers, if that makes sense. Because all the stuff that the Ranger has is all these weird other things outside of, like, beasts and hunting. You have... like, it's Gloomstalker, Horizon Walker... like, the Monster Slayer is still just a hunting thing. Swarm Keeper, like, you know, like they're kind of like this weird. They kind of fit really strangely inside of the class cosmology, if that makes sense. They're very interesting. Like they got all the weird stuff. I haven't looked at the newest stuff yet. Like, is there new UAs that came out recently? Oh, the Swarm Keeper? Yeah, the Swarm Keeper is really, really dope. They have fairly strong roll in combat. They're the strongest single target damage dealers in the game. I mean, in 5th edition, they're pretty terrifying as long as you don't pay the Beastmaster. Like, they're really good. Like, the Horizon Walker, I think, is one of the... It's either Horizon Walker or Gloomstalker. One of the two is, like, one of the most powerful damage dealers to single targets as well. Yeah, there's a UA one for the dragon baby. Okay. But the big thing that makes them interesting is, like, they're also related to, like, the Fae. And portals for some reason. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, there is a version of the Ranger that you can, like, the Horde Breaker, and if you go, like, double swords, you can, like, deal with a lot. Like, you can just run in and deal with swarms of enemies. You become an expert at dealing with a lot of targets. But, yeah. Exactly. That's why I like it. But that also puts me to survival. Like, we gotta start going into, like, the, skills of individuals. Oh, excuse me. Oh, stand by. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Jeez. Oh, that's right. I forgot that they had Windows 11. No. I did not hear good things about it, so I saw no reason to upgrade. Like, I feel like this is the only thing that kind of makes Rangers, aside from, like, all the weird shit. I turned off all the like the fancy features of 10 because they're like I don't care about fancy features. I want performance. Especially when I have a dinky computer, I actually have to try and turn all the performance features off. Alrighty. We'll come back to that. I feel like there's gonna be something else in there for Rangers, but okay, they are experts. These are best. They're, well, actually, the right people. Jeez. Experts at their craft. That's so ridiculous. Well, Microsoft always releases another thing every once in a while that just, you know, ruins everything. And then after everybody complains about it and they go, oh, this is what people actually want? Okay, then we'll build the thing that people actually want now that we're, like, you know, in a giant hole. I'm currently on Linux. Nice. I always had an appreciation for Linux. I wouldn't use it personally, but I have an appreciation for it. Okay, so they are skilled. Highly experts. But they are also other things. They are thieves. They are con artists. They are what else are they? They are what's the word I'm looking for? Not plotters. Like people that plot someone's end. Like not an assassin per se, but assassin would be in there. You could also put in killing would be like a rogue thing. Like just straight up killing someone would be a rogue thing compared to others. Trickery. Specifically trickery. The mastermind. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way that, like, to frame the mastermind as a concept, though. I guess thieves and con artists are technically the same thing, so you wouldn't actually put that in. What are some other things that make rogues rogues? Well, they're also associated with luck a lot. So there's that too. Explorers? That would be more of a ranger thing. Exploration is more like a ranger concept in my head. Con artists fall under the rogue class in Pathfinder 2. Yeah, like, when I think con artists, I'm like, it's, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like, con artists are just thieves, right? They're just a different kind of thief. Not thief in the traditional sense. Perspective. You're killing me. Also strategy, maybe. I have strategy under the fighter thing. So, but we're gonna like condense a lot of this and move it around and mess with it after we're done. We're just like listing long piles of concepts. Team player, rely on allies. That's the wizard. Magic learned. Very specifically, magic learned. So they are study. Knowledge. Fine. Tell that to generic edgy rogues. It's that basic. Careful not to cut yourself on all that edge. Okay. I mean, we can put in magic as a thing here. Study knowledge. Wait, did I watch a crap guide of D&D? Oh, are you talking about Joe Cat's video? Because no, I haven't. Yeah, like just like that. I don't know what it is. Like I saw that character, and I just looked at it, and I said, I don't want anything to do with this. I looked at it. I'm just like, I don't want anything to do with that. So magic, there's obviously schools of magic that are related to like all kinds of things. I'm supposed to be a creature from Monster Hunter. I believe that. I have a massive appreciation for Monster Hunter. I just can't play it. The combat in Monster Hunter has just always felt so damn clunky. I couldn't do it. It hurt my head. I just couldn't do it. Obviously there's things like all the stuff that comes with wizards. Like there's all the schools of magic, which I'm not gonna put them as concepts. I think magic at greater aspect is a better way of approaching this. So we're actually gonna have a very small list of things for wizards, but because illusions is just trickery, necromancy is life. Scribes is history. I guess you could do that, history. That is incorrect. Oh my. Manipulation. They manipulate all kinds of things. I'm running blanks on here. Sorcerers, it's a lot more primal. So there's like, so you can have like the elements. To be fair, dragons are basically just big giant cats. Thank you. I'm not the only one that thinks that. They have like a cat-like face. Like when you look at the face of a dragon, it's actually very cat-like. They move like a predator, like a cat. Like dragons are just giant cats. Also, like cats, by the way, if you get a small dragon or a pseudo dragon, they're even though they're, you know, they get along with people, they're technically not domesticated. Because cats also, by the way, technically not domesticated. They just like people for some reason. I don't know why this is. Nobody knows why this is. It's just the way it is for some reason. Cats just like people. For some reason. Enough for them to create a language for them. Okay. Sorcery is just kind of like a weird one. So they can be planes. Right? They're also embodiments of chaos. Elements, planes, chaos. Like, those are kind of like the three big things that make sorcerers from other magic users. Deal makers. This is where like pacts are like a thing on their own, but that's like a form of an oath. Yeah, pretty much. So, like, warlocks obviously make deals and pacts with different things, but it's also just, like, other creatures. So, like, other beings. So, like, warlocks are just other beings that just create that are other beings of power. Like, they just make deals, pacts, and other beings. Like, I know I'm starting to sound like I'm getting lazy here, but I'm just drawing blanks on what, like, kind of makes warlocks, sorcerers, and wizards actually different from each other, other than just, hey, we all use magic. Right? So monks are, I want to say, perfected body and soul. That's the wrong kind of soul. So the thing that matters to them is soul, loss of control. Yeah, pretty much. Soul, discipline, meditation. Yeah, meditation. Which underlines a very long list of things. What are some other things about the monk? Like, I know they have more like their fighting style things, but the big thing that they are also connected to, like with their key, is they're connected to the world around them. So, willpower, yeah. So, we also have specifically them being connected to the, here's something that's actually, I had a minor epiphany on, is monks aren't actually connected to other planes. They're connected to the space in between the planes, right? Their soul, like, unlike, right? So like this so being somewhere, but nowhere at the same time, right? That's where the astral side of things comes from. Because the astral sea, or the astral plane, is a plane that technically doesn't exist as a plane. It's just a place in between all the other planes. It's the highway. It's the space that doesn't actually have anything in it. It's a place of thought. So, like, that's kind of like it kind of actually doubles down on or kind of leans in the direction of, like, a Buddhist's idea of nirvana. Right? Absent of desires. If I'm remembering it correctly. I could be remembering it that wrong. which would fall under meditation in this kind of case. Like, these 4 concepts on their own, like, you can always add other concepts from other people, but these are like the things that make being an Eldritch Goddess and all. Yeah, technically would be from there. So, as well as like astral being, or just, you could argue, I guess it would be like spiritual realm is like the part of the soul, like they would be part of the cosmology in a sense. Okay, so here's like the class-based stuff. So let's start dealing with these and work our way through and go with where does this kind of fit in things that we need as stuff for deities. So like this is just kind of like concepts as like classes that make classes. So artificers, like shortcuts and hard work, right? They're all craftsmen, they're all build things, but they all are either making cool stuff, so they work, so we have hard work. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have shortcuts. Right? Now, it doesn't mean we have to have a deity for each of these, or even a deity that adheres to both. But we also have hard work and shortcuts. Curiosity, experimental. Yeah, that's also in the, like, that's also in the idea of like creativity and ideas. But experiment also works in there too. But experiments you could put into a more broader term, which is curiosity. Which you did actually mention. So curiosity actually fits. Like experimental or experiments and things like that also all fit underneath curiosity, right? Exploring curiosity. Which is also a thing that you could also put the science of magic would be based on magic. Yeah, it would be. Because the thing is magic is referred to as a cosmic force, right? Much like how physics is a cosmic force. Yeah, it would just be another field of science. Okay. So, next we have battle, honor, ancestors, wild, spirits, strength, guardians. So, the big one here, so like the spirits and the soul, we can kind of clump together spirits, soul. Let's just start like putting stuff together as like groups to put things together. So we can have battle, but battle can be like any number of things. That can be both good and evil. Curiosity is more like a knowledge base. But that can be a lot of things. So curiosity can also be secrets. I cannot spell. It can also be secrets. It can be ideas. Right? It can be all those things. Well, here's the thing is I'm not thinking a god of war per se. I don't like the idea that there is a god of war. I like the idea of a god of battle. Because battle is war, but it also facilitates non-war combat. Right? I'm trying to think broad. Because if you think in a narrow kind of aspects, you end up with a list, like, you end up with a list that's this long. Yeah, that's, I believe that's Ysgard. Or Isgard. Not Isgard. Oh, what is it? That's gonna bug me. Oh, what is it? Yeah, it's Ysgard. Where if you die, you just respawn the next day and keep fighting one giant match of medieval COD. Pretty much. That's pretty much how that works. Okay, so hard work, shortcuts. You could actually argue that's cheats. Cheating. Creation. You could argue that hard work is under. Oh, maybe not. That's actually too broad. I think that's a little too broad. We have ancestors. Nice. Jeez. We have ancestors. That also can mean family. That can be spirits. That can be soul. Wilds can be nature in the many forms that nature takes. So that can be the physical realms that nature takes. So lakes, rivers, mountains, forests, all that other stuff. Battle can also be strength. It can also be strength of another kind, arguably. Oh, I'm missing just two, like, it's just all wrong. There we go. Nope. It can be strength. Battle can also possess honor. I'm gonna get rid of the good evil thing here. Let's just keep moving this down so I can keep with it. Ideas, speech. We can have music. This can be stories. This can be art. Music, story, art, speech. Speech, performance. Like all that can be like coupled together into like one thing, really. Weather, forest, water, weather, beasts. That would be the wilds. We can have beasts. We can have hunting. We can have survival. We already have the cycle in Eeyore, so I'm not concerned about that one. We have cosmos, so stars. Cosmos. We have stars, we have cosmos, we have moon. We can be moons. I actually have a thing for the moons I actually have to address, which is the moon goddesses. It's a whole other thing with that I have to actually address. That I can't do on stream because that's actually part to the main plot of the game that I stream, so I actually can't do stuff with that on stream. There's another one in here, which is dreams, which also means nightmare, which we can also couple in there with wisdom. Honor, glory, competence. Hard work, it can be coupled with competence. Can be coupled with competence. We can, let's see, strategy we already have, combat, honor, training, what else we have here? Battle, strength, honor, glory. We have oaths. By the same part, we have duty. You can put, I think you can put oaths and duty together. We have, devotion. Are kind of all put together. In battle, you can also throw in conquest. For sorcerers, though, I'll get to that in a minute. We also have another one which is kind of separate from everything, which is vengeance. Or justice. I don't know how we missed justice earlier. Vengeance, justice, redemption. Shortcuts and trickery. Yeah, I'm going through all the stuff so far. Trickery.
Greetings, traveler.
All right, intoxicating rose. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to greetings and welcome to the Fractured Shores. Really appreciate it. Hope you're having a good time. We're working on domains. Boomstalker and Vengeance are Batman. Yes. We're working on domains for a pantheon. So I'm running into some problems with the way that my pantheon is structured. And it's very unidimensional is the best way I can think of putting it. So I'm trying to think of ways to make it a little bit more comprehensive and more interesting. And I'm realizing that there's two things I have to do in order to really make it work, and that is the easiest way to do it, which is I don't accept the ones that are good have stories that I've written for them. The ones that are kind of like they're just kind of there. I either have like a passing idea for them, and the ones that aren't working, I don't have any stories for them. So one of the biggest things I'm gonna have to do at the end of this, and I'm gonna have to, like, before I actually get into like creating them properly, is I'm gonna have to make stories, which feels like a no-brainer now that I'm looking at it. But you know, I'm not an expert writer by any stretch of the imagination. All right. Let's see here. Where were we? Hunting. So that would be like hunting, beasts, survival. Fae, I've already got something covered for that. Survival, exploration. That's part of travel. We already kind of have that too. Is to make it amoral. Ambition is neither good nor bad. It's merely an emotion. What would be a god if ambition looked like a villain loyal to a... Yeah. Exactly. Like, that's the thing, is I'm setting them up to be more more broad spectrum. Like, this is just me kind of like grouping stuff together and trying to go how I want to like navigate things at the end, because I do need good, evil, and neutral deities to kind of fit my modes of thinking with my writing. But I also have like natural forces, like the natural order is neither good nor evil. It's just natural. It's just the way that the universe works. So like Eeyore, for example, is a god of death, but he's not death in like bad in the bad sense. He's death in the sense of like everything that lives must come to its eventual end. You know, he's also a thing of renewal, decay, creation, things of that nature. Kind of the cycle of death, the cycle of life and death. But he's also just a concept, right? Well, not just a concept. He's a concept, which is actually the important part. Let's see here. Competence fits under skills. Experts, again, fits under hard work, competence, training. Thieves. We don't have anything for thieves. Shortcuts, cheating, trickery. You could put that under thieves, per se. Relationship, friendship, loyalty. Yeah. So I have a fertility deity that's about let's see here. That currently is set up as fertility, love, sacrifice, and abrasiveness, because she's kind of based off of Maleficent to some degree. But right now, I'm starting with there's a whole lot more that I'm going to be doing. I'm starting with the class-based ideas. And then we're going to change that over into culture-based ideas. So things like classes in the terms of like society. So like upper, middle, working, squalor, and then different forms of like cultures as forms of governments and what kind of deities would actually kind of fit with them as well. So like, for example, because you need a plutocracy, for example, there probably needs to be a god of money. Or a god of wealth. Or perhaps greed. There's also like other things that I have to kind of keep that I already have because of player picking them already, and because they kind of already work. I have a baseline that I can kind of mold stuff around. Just specifically a goddess of entropy. She is also the fact that everything exists eventually will come to an eventual end. She's far greater than the god that just gave it must pass away. Right. So like literally a cosmic concept that given form. Let's see here. I like the idea of just luck being a thing. Like, just being a force in the world. Luck. It just being a thing. Killing can also be, like, a conquest thing. It can be a lot of things. Really. You could put luck. You could put risk. You could go possibility. Or probability. You could also put on the token of the other end of the spectrum, fate, because I need a deity of fate. That has to be a thing, and there's reasons for that, like writing reasons that I've kind of put myself into that I have to have something related to fate. It's all of Zero words. Yeah, really, and this is why you like Arash so much, because aside from fate, Arash is literally the god of adventures. Like, that's part of the reason why he just kind of fits so well, is because he's actually just a god of adventures, right? He's built off of a culture. He's built off of the adventure culture, right? Because there's only two ways that gods kind of exist, and that's either the culture before the god or the god before the culture. Oh, she's an existentialist. That's cute. Okay. This is where we start getting into the weeds with things, because we have to try and define magic. So we have magic as a thing. What's that? I mean, I guess I can do that. I don't know why you... Stand by. Alright, sorry about that. Had to get something real quick. It's just really... So it's kind of like an odd contrast to her being ever hungrier goddess of entropy. Yeah, like it's a really cool duality, and that's kind of what I want to go for in everything. Is like there's a duality to like everything. So like either they're in that middle ground where it's like, hey, it could be this way, it could be that way, right? They're kind of morally inambiguous. But I want the good and the evil deities to be like, hey, you know, I think Phobomancer, or however you say his name, I can't remember how to say it for the life of me right now. It's all good, Nano. We're gonna be done here pretty soon, anyways. Is there's virtues and vices to both the good and evil deities, right? So even though like, so like the good deities, the goodly deities are gonna have like something about them that makes them less attractive, like the perfect lawful good deity is gonna be like abrasive or something like that, right? Where it's like, yeah, here's the rule of law, it is good, it is just, and it is to be held to the letter, right? Not the, so like, you know, this child stealing food to survive. It's like, well, the letter of the law demands that he be punished. The spirit of the law demands, like, you know what? We're gonna give you a warning. We'll give you a little bit of a pass, you know. But we catch you again, it's gonna be worse. It's like that's the spirit of the law, right? The spirit of the law is to create people that adhere to good things, or the things that you want them to adhere to. Whereas the letter of the law is no, this is how it is to be, right? So like kind of like that sort of idea. But taken to more extremes and in different directions for both the good and evil deities. Like for example, Ocelots, even though he's technically a neutral deity, he's a madness deity, but he's also about truth, right? So truth in its purest sense, and it might drive you crazy because you might not be able to handle it. Okay. So we have magic, we have knowledge. Now, knowledge can be put in with secrets and ideas and curiosity. Magic is kind of like a whole cosmic force. Right? Like, it's kind of like its own thing. and personally actually makes her a chaotic god despite being an eldritch god. Eventually going to devour the entire multiverse. I mean, you know, at its appropriate time. So magic can be what else falls with magic? Like, knowledge doesn't fall with magic. Magic is a primal force. So it's like, you know, you can put magic in with, like, physics. And portals. Planes. Right? Devotion. You could also put in, with devotion, you can put discipline. Nature? Yeah, like, nature also works in there, I guess. Like, well, nature technically falls under, like, this is kind of like a, actually, you know what? No, not nature. Not nature. Nature, no. Science. We actually had a comment about this earlier. Magic and science are effectively the same thing. Physics, portals, planes, science, magic. The way that things work, right? Nature isn't like the way that things work. Nature is, in the broadest sense, nature is forests, water, weather, things like that. Right? So, like, all these things kind of fit together. Oaths, discipline, well, maybe not discipline. Discipline, I actually think, would fit under this. Devotion. Pact. Oh, no, don't print. Pacts. Deals. Right? So all this, like all this right here kind of fits together. All this can be kind of condensed down to this. So here's a thing that we got going for us then. So let's just start taking some of these and applying them to stuff. So I already have a lot of this actually already in things in here, but we can do things a little bit, push things a little bit further. So right now we have, what time is it? 10:02. Okay. I'm actually gonna probably be ending really shortly, so if I don't see you again there, Tsuki, really appreciate you swinging by. Thanks for for chatting with me. I really appreciate it. Definitely helped me got some ideas going. Be happy to see you again. If I don't see you at the end of the stream. Cheers. All right. So because we can always expand. Like, I had a rule before that it had to be like limited to 3 or 4 like adjectives to deities, but it doesn't really need to be. Right? Like, that was just a self-imposed rule for like kind of no reason. Right? So let's just do away with that. And just start going forward with it like this. So let's start with Arash. All right, let's just start with Arash. Arash is of adventure. It's of adventure, taking risks. Anarchy, yay. No, not anarchy. Organized nonsense. Adventure, right? So adventure also goes in there with travel. Inherently. And you know what? I said before that I couldn't have overlap. Overlap's allowed, right? There's no reason to not have overlap with different things. So like competence, because a lot of them are going to want competence from people. Like they're gonna deities are going to value competent people adhering to them. Risk, travel, competence. What else did I put for Arash inherently? Adventure, luck, struggle. Okay, so I put struggle in there. Right, struggle. Because that allows for growth. Right, so like that's a whole thing right there. There's no need to add or remove more from that. Like that's plenty. That's a good descriptor. It's a good way of putting things. There we go. What do we have for Cambar? Cambar can be for like money. Challenge? Yeah. Well, that would be competence, struggle, challenge. Not to shoot my own name in there. But yeah, like that's really, really good. Like challenges, overcoming struggle and challenge are kind of fall together. But yeah, like all that kind of like fits together. And I can always add more to fit in holes. Like it's kind of like we do with the thing with the, because this is the early makings of the world, right? So like, a lot of things are gonna slowly become, it's one of those things I think in 5 years from now, I can do something where I can like have a real thing to kind of like put forward to people and go, hey, here's the world, have a look, right? Like 5-6 years from now. 35 is kind of like my goal to have like a comprehensive world that I can go, just kind of go, here's a setting for you. Because it takes a long time to build like a proper setting. Especially when you just think about the cosmology in the way like I do. Because I constantly go back to like really weird questions like that. I remember actually talking to Darth at one point when we were talking about how heat metal affects magic items. Like, does it affect magic items? And my answer is yes, because, well, what happens when you throw a magic item in a pool of lava? Or a pool of molten steel. Right? So there's that. But that's a whole other conversation. Alright, so Cambar. Cambar is a greed. But... And when you're not a team of, like, 15 people. I'm not sure I understand what you mean by that. Strategy. What else did I put as Cambar originally? I think I put islands and dragons originally. Yeah. Cambar on my other list is wealth. Okay. So we have wealth. We can put in money. And when you're not a team of like 50, taking 1%. Oh, I understand what you mean. Like when I don't have like, when there isn't like 7 people working on, like they have like each person working on a different country. Yeah. I get what you mean. He's also, this is also something I can also put in there. Is patron deities. So there's a thing that's interesting about the idea of patron deities, and that is that it's a god of a race. But I don't think I'm going to do that, because I'm probably, every single deity I make is probably just going to be of a different race, just to kind of flesh things out further that way. And that's just going to be like a style choice. There's no particular reason for it. I might have to come up with a cosmic answer for it at another time, but who knows? So I'm not going to bother with like cosmic or with patron deities in the simplest sense. Cambar can also be he's of dragons. Like Cambar is of dragons. And dragons, one of the things that I've been struggling with, at least at some point, was exactly how does magic work in in the Fractured Shores, because it essentially always comes back to depending on its source. Because there's sources of it everywhere. So it all depends on its source. And dragons are magical because they're inherently magical. So what is another really interesting way that we can kind of push things out? I think I actually originally made Cambar also a Tempest. Yeah, Tempest, because it's storm, like for storms. I mean, Cambar is the one that created Dragonkind, so this is the god. Cambar is a dragon deity. So, let's see here. So, where is Cambar? So, Cambar is the Dragon Lord of. This is an older version. I've made changes since then, but Cambar is also the parent of all Dragonborn as well. Kinda. So the story behind Cambar is actually the birth of the Dragonborn. Is that Cambar kind of came to be as an amalgamation of different stuff. Amazing stuff, but still, yeah. So kind of like of wealth and strategy and greed. But I want to expand upon it a little bit. So greed, strategy, and wealth are all like neither good nor evil, right? It's all good. It's all mid grounds. Not trickery, right? Very specifically, not trickery. It's not meant to be a trickery guide. We could go with like creation is not really a thing that I want to add, even though it's accurate. But I suppose because one of the few deities that actually made a race is Cambar. I think Cambar is the only deity that made a race, actually, that created a race, I think. I'm pretty sure every other I'm pretty sure I made every other race came to be by some other form. The Dragonborn are the only created, and they're a young race. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really put in here. I mean, competence is going to be something that's going to be in there as well. Hard work, I guess, is sorta in there, but not particularly. Craft is the big thing. Like their big thing is making craft, making money. Like the whole entire culture of Cambar actually is they make stuff. Gaining stuff, like gaining power, land, wealth, and respect are the most important things. Right? Gaining stuff, gaining other things is the importance of Cambar. So gaining, so greed, like that, the greed just fits that so well. You could also put in hoarding. Oh, man. Oh, have a good one. Yeah, I'm actually going to shut things down, too. I'm already 2 minutes over when I said I was going to be finished. So really appreciate you guys swinging by. Everyone that did. Everyone that stayed to the end. Really appreciate you guys. A little bit more than the rest. But nonetheless, thank you very much for watching. Next week is the 21st, I believe. Yeah, the 21st. That will be the continuation of the one-shot that turned into a two-shot, as well as with as long as nothing happens. Fingers crossed with people's schedules, because it looks like everything's good, but it may or may not change last minute. We are also going to have session 1 of Steal the Past shortly after that as well. It's a big busy day for me. So really appreciate you guys swinging by. And until next time, guys, have a good day.